breaking down friendship sports. This is the Tigers Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome into the High School Fan Zone on Wednesday night. I am Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score. We're going to jump into the Tiger Fan Zone. And just as a reminder, Wednesday nights for the rest of the school year will be Friendship, Lubbock Cooper, and Liberty, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm joined by, my microphone's kind of low here. I'm going to have Kyler fix this. And in between, I feel like I'm hunched over here. Yeah. I'm joined by Friendship girls soccer coach Lauren Denning. We were just talking about got a tournament coming up, a home tournament.
That's right.
And you guys are going to get to play. Your boys don't get to play because their tournament was scheduled in Fort Worth. And where are you from originally?
I'm from DFW area, Grand Prairie.
So you know what I'm talking about. When it snows there, the world stops.
Oh, everything shuts down. Absolutely.
So his tournament was at Byron Nelson, I believe, and they just went ahead and pulled the plug on that, which I understand.
Yep.
I'm from Kansas, so this is
nothing. Yeah.
No, although I don't like the cold that much.
Yeah.
Now, I'm guessing that at this time of year, you get used to the cold when you're a soccer coach.
Well, that's what they always say, like, oh, you're used to it. And I'm like, no, I don't know if I can ever be used to it, especially just standing. But, I mean, I think my girls get used to it a little bit. The seniors definitely handle it a little bit differently than the poor little freshmen that are still trying to get used to it.
I think it was Keelan Ellison that told me last year that her girls at Liberty who had not
experienced
first year playing it, they got out there. I think they had to go up north for a tournament, and she looked at them, and they were shivering and huddled up. And she was like,
Yeah, I just remember this year earlier in practice, one of the freshmen was like, oh, it's so cold. And I said, oh, sweetheart, it's 50 degrees. You're gonna need some more layers before we start season. So.
Yep. But the season started. Yep. And I before you got here, I called up your final match from last year.
Okay.
And I thought it was a great match.
Mm-hmm. It was.
It didn't end the way you wanted.
Right.
But that was your first full loss of the season.
Yeah, true.
You guys have lost 2 matches this year and may have a better team. Or a team that's just as good.
That's competitive for sure. Yeah, we wanted to challenge ourselves, and so having our first tournament be NEPS, which is a really strong showcase in the Dallas area. South Lake hosts it, brings in a lot of really good quality teams that we are going to potentially face in playoffs, and so we do that on purpose, and wanted a tough schedule. I think South Lake knows our potential now too, and so he purposely gives us some harder teams. Honestly, for him to look at, I mean, he was scouting our last game, just sitting, hanging out, watching. So, we played some good quality teams. We played Flower Mound first, made some early season mistakes that I'm really honestly pretty good with as far as let's get it on film, let's fix it, and let's go on from there. And then played a good Seven Lakes team who made it to state finals last year, or state tournament, and had a really good showing against them, won 3-0. And then last game was against Hebron, who I was not as expecting to be as strong as they were, and they were a very, very good quality team. Had a U.S. national team kid on there, and was just a good quality team. So we were really happy with our level of fitness for that to be that early in the season. Happy with our fitness, happy with some of our finishing. Need to look at some things defensively, for sure, but now we have it on film. So now we get to analyze and move forward and feel like we're in a better spot than we would have been if we hadn't been challenged early.
That kind of reminds me of Amy Mangum. Had a great season, came back tied for district, won that playoff match, and then got to play the number 1 team in the country in the area round.
Yep.
Sometimes that happens in Texas. That's just the way it happens sometimes. I want to go back to the match that ended last year, because I remember talking to you afterwards, and I don't think you were upset. I think there was a sense of resolve of, man, we accomplished a lot and knocked on that door, and now you want to get back up to that, where you lost to Flower Mound Marcus 1-0, and I can vividly remember it was basically one of their girls got ahead of your defense for a split second.
Yep, that's all it took.
And she put the ball in the net, and other than that, it was just knock down, drag out, 2 really good teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we had chances. I thought we stood up to them defensively, and that's soccer for you. That's why it's so hard. One little mistake, and they finished on an opportunity, and we didn't finish on a couple of ours. But no, there was an overwhelming sense of pride. There was a sense of accomplishment for sure, and but also a sense of what I told the seniors last year was, all right, now we've accomplished this, and now you're leaving a legacy that all the rest of them should want to live up to. And so I challenged the seniors early on with that this year of, okay, now we know what it takes. We know what it looks like. We have experience. Now let's bring that into practice. And that's the really hard part, is to try to bring that into practice every day of, this is what it takes. We know what it takes. We know what it looks like. Now let's bring it into practice for the new ones, because we had a bunch of new ones on varsity this year. And so y'all have to set that tone and that expectation. So it's a hard thing to do, especially with, high school kids are very focused on what's going on right here and right now. And so to think back about that, and then to think forward in August, to think forward, 6 months is really hard to do for them sometimes too. So I think this tournament was, again, a good way to start and say, okay, this is the level now. We know what it looks like, and let's continue to push forward to get there.
This may be a little bit like hearing your own voice when you're talking. I'm going to read your quote to you.
Okay.
You kind of just mentioned it. You said this is the last quote of the story from the website, or my website that I wrote. It said, after the game, I told the seniors, look at the legacy you're leaving. I wanted them to know that when we come back and do this next year, they are a big part of that. This is the standard we're going to carry forward. When you return as many as we will, you want the goal in place to get here again, and it helps that we've seen this and understand this is where we want to be from now on. So exactly what you just said.
At least I'm consistent.
Yes, you are consistent. You had that speech down.
Right.
That's one you don't mind tweaking at the end of each year, because if the more you say it, the closer you get to where you want to be.
Exactly. Hopefully. Yeah.
How many years have you been? I know
this is my 6th year.
I know you've been here a while. I think the year I started my website, there was a transition began, and you guys have been competitive and on the rise ever since. We're going to talk a little bit more about last year before we jump in after the break here. Before we come back, or before we leave, I want to remind everybody, I mentioned it before, after Thanksgiving we changed formats a little bit. Monday night is going to be the 4 LISD schools, so it will be Coronado, Estacado, Lubbock High, Monterey, in that order, every Monday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Wednesday, no show on Tuesday. Basketball and soccer get Tuesday nights. Wednesday night will be Friendship, Lubbock, Cooper, and Liberty, in that order, 6 to 7 p.m. every Wednesday. So that will be the format on the high school fan zone. We're in the Tiger fan zone right now. We're coming up on a break. We'll be back on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta, and we're in the Tiger fan zone.
Diving headfirst into Friendship athletics. You're listening to the Tiger Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back to the Tiger Fan Zone on a Wednesday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score. Hopefully my voice will hold up here. I'm hopefully, knock on fake wood, whatever this is, you guys have not been affected by whatever's been going around.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I know Trevor Burkhead's in the next room,
okay.
And he told me he was down and out a little bit, and I just talked to Will Flemons at Lubbock Cooper, and they've been dealing with it. High school kids don't understand that once one of you gets sick, keep to yourself.
That's right.
I've got one at home, and I'm like, don't breathe on me, child.
That's right.
Hopefully you guys don't. Well, you're outside, though, so your girls are toughened up.
Yeah, there you go. Good immune systems.
And a few of those, more than a few of those girls were around for the team that finished, let me make sure I get it right here, 18-1-5 last year.
Yep.
Would you fair to call that the best season in Friendship girls soccer history?
Oh, I don't know. They've had some good seasons before. I know that we got as far as
You've never been to the regional tournament, but
they had been.
That's right. You told me.
Yeah, they had been one time before me, and ended up losing in that same first round.
Okay.
So yeah, tied with that. But I would venture to say that I thought we were more competitive at the regional tournament last year than the one that I remember. But one of, absolutely, like tied with the top, or one of. I think as far as also schedule wise and record wise, probably the best. Yeah. Because
Trevor Burkhead is in the other room. We've talked about that before. It gets challenging out here sometimes. 5A maybe is not as challenging,
right.
But 6A is, because you get into your district, and this is not to disrespect anybody in your district, but the level of competition you guys face for those several weeks.
Lower.
A little bit.
Yeah. Compared to playoffs and what you hit especially with 6A, we hit a Dallas school second round.
Right.
So we have to knock on the door of a Dallas school immediately, just about. We have our El Paso, and then we have our Dallas. And so, yeah, it just immediately gets real competitive. So,
and to be fair, the El Paso schools have gotten better in soccer. They know what they're doing down there. They've got a lot more sun, so they get to deal with that.
Right.
But that's why you schedule the tournament like you just got done with. And let's talk about your tournament coming up. Who all will be here in town for your tournament?
We've got several local teams that are driving in. We've got Midland and Midland Legacy coming in. We've got Greenwood. We've got Andrews and Borger and Canyon and Randall and West Plains. So we've got we wanted it to be West Texas. We wanted to bring everybody together, and Lubbock is very hub city central, so let's try to get as many people as possible. We wanted some 5As, and their districts is starting so early that we didn't get to grab some of them. So we wanted to just bring people together and try to give them some competitive games before we all start district, and make it a little bit easier of a travel rather than, having to go to a Dallas or a Houston or a Austin or whatever. So.
And you pulled some teams down from the Amarillo area. You mentioned West Plains and Randall that are very competitive against anybody they play.
Right. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave them competitive games and wanted to challenge some other people in that way and get our girls some time at home. We don't get too many home because we do the tournaments that we do. So wanted to have the opportunity to host and show them. Honestly, we got our brand new field and our brand new turf down there that we are really, really enjoying. So we wanted to show that off a little bit and show what we have down here, and hopefully we can be accommodating hosts and offer a good weekend of soccer.
And for folks who aren't kind of keyed in, Friendship and Lubbock Cooper are the only two places in town that have your own soccer-specific stadiums.
Yeah, we're two of the only ones, to be fair, in Texas probably. So, we're very, very lucky and very proud of that, and so we want to show that off. We always love hosting playoff games and that kind of thing, and always get really good comments about, man, this is fantastic that y'all have your own. You don't have to deal with football lines. You don't have to deal with uprights. You don't have to deal with any of that. So, yeah, we're very lucky. And
educate folks the size difference.
Yeah. A typical soccer field is bigger than a football field, and so it's very much a lot wider. And so even when you're having to squish it inside of a track, it is close to up to the track. And so our field that we have, our soccer pitch is bigger than most of the fields that you are going to play on, because most of them are on a football field inside of a track. So we love that because we like to move the ball and spread the field and do all those things. And so we take advantage of it. We use a lot of space and make teams run a lot, hopefully, to try to chase us. So,
and I know Simon Hernandez, Monterey boys coach, and he wanted to play Trevor Burkhead and Lubbock Cooper on your field for that reason, because it fit his team's
style
and skill set better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me make sure I've got this right. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Thursday, you guys start against El Paso Pebble Hills.
Yeah,
7:30 p.m.
Pebble Hills had to back out with the weather. They weren't allowed to drive up here, and so Canyon took their place in the whole schedule. So Canyon is filling in for them, and so we will play Canyon.
Easy enough for me to switch out.
Tried to help you. Yeah, exactly.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But you will play Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And our JV is actually competing in this varsity tournament as well, which I'm really excited about. I love that our JV is as competitive as it is, so they will be competing as well.
That's Friendship Girls Soccer. That's been Lauren Denning. I'm Randy Rosetta, and we'll be back on 100.7 The Score with the Pirate Fan Zone after this break.